Learning objectives to describe coronary circulation and its importance, name the different branches of coronary arteries and their area of supply, discuss variations of coronary artery disease, discuss clinical manifestations of blockage of coronary arteries, to describe the variations of coronary arteries and the right and left dominance, discuss myocardial infarction and angina pectoris in relation to vessel occlusion. So starting with the coronary arteries. When we talk about coronary arteries, there are two coronary arteries, that is the right and the left coronary artery. Now if you could see in the picture, this is the right coronary artery and the left coronary artery. This is the left coronary artery. These coronary arteries arises from the aortic sinuses in the initial portion of the ascending aorta, and they supply the muscle and other tissues of the heart. Now if we have a look of aortic sinuses, so there's a picture of these are the two aortic sinuses, that is the right aortic coronary cusp and the left coronary cusp, from where the two coronary arteries, that is the right coronary artery and the left coronary artery, arises. So the two coronary arteries, that is the right and the left coronary arteries, they arise from the aortic sinuses. And from where does they arise? They arise from the initial portion of the ascending aorta, and it is the main supply of the heart. They circle the heart. Now what happened is that the right and the left coronary artery basically circles the heart in the coronary sulcus, with marginal and interventricular branches in the interventricular sulci converging towards the apex of the heart. So the right and the left coronary artery basically encircles the heart in the coronary sulcus, and then along with the marginal and the interventricular artery, if you could see in the picture, that this is the right coronary artery, the left coronary artery, which encircles the heart in the coronary sulcus along with the marginal artery and the interventricular artery in the interventricular sulci. They converge towards the apex of the heart. So the main arteries of the heart, when we talk about the main blood supply or main artery of the heart, they are the two coronary arteries, that is the right coronary artery and the left coronary artery, which actually originates from the aortic sinuses. Then they circle these two arteries circle in the coronary sulcus, and along with the marginal artery and the interventricular branches, they then converge towards the apex of the heart. So starting with the description of the coronary artery. Coronary artery originates from the right aortic sinus of the ascending aorta. It passes anteriorly to the right between the right auricle and the pulmonary trunk. Now in this, if this is the aortic sinus, from which the right aortic sinus, from where the right coronary artery emerges. Then it passes anteriorly. See, it passes the right coronary artery. It passes anteriorly between the right auricle and the pulmonary trunk. See, it passes between the right auricle and the pulmonary trunk. Then it descends vertically in the coronary sulcus between the right atrium and the right ventricle. Now you can see that this is the coronary sulcus, where the right coronary artery descends between the right auricle, right atrium and the right ventricle. On reaching the inferior margin of the heart, it turns posteriorly, continues in the sulcus on the diaphragmatic surface and base of the heart. During this course, several branches arise from the main stem of the vessel. Now, what are the branches? So before proceeding towards the branches of the right coronary artery, just an overlook what we have discussed. The right coronary artery, which actually originates from the right coronary sinus, and it runs anteriorly, it passes anteriorly between the pulmonary trunk and the right auricle. Then it descends vertically. See, it has been originated from the aortic sinus then it passes anteriorly between the pulmonary trunk and the right auricle. Then it descends vertically between the right atrium and the right ventricle, and during its course it gives several branches. Now if we discuss its branches, the first branch of the right coronary artery would be the atrial branch. If you could see in the picture, this is the atrial branch. It passes in the groove between the right auricle and the ascending aorta. Then the second branch would be the SA-nodal branch, which passes posteriorly around the superior vena cava to supply the SA node. Now this is the sinoatrial nodal branch, which passes posteriorly around the superior vena cava to supply the SA node. Then we have the right marginal artery. Now you can see in the figure, this is the right marginal artery. It is given off as the coronary artery approaches to the inferior acute margin of the heart and continues along its border towards the apex of the heart. Then we have the final branch, that is the posterior interventricular branch, which lies in the posterior interventricular sulcus. You can see in the picture, this is the posterior interventricular branch which lies in the posterior interventricular sulcus. So regarding the when we combine the branches of the coronary artery, right coronary artery, we can say that the right coronary artery actually supplies the right atrium and the right ventricle, the sinoatrial and the AV nodes, the interatrial septum, a portion of the left atrium, posterior-inferior 1/3 of the interventricular septum, a portion of the posterior part of the left ventricle. So just have a look regarding the right coronary artery. The right coronary artery, which have been originated from the right aortic sinus of the ascending aorta, it passes anteriorly between the pulmonary trunk and the right auricle. Then it descends vertically in the coronary sulcus between the right atrium and the right ventricle. Then it continues in the sulcus onto the diaphragmatic surface and the base of the heart, and during its course it gives off several branches. Now when we talk about the branches of the right coronary artery, the first branch would be the atrial branch, which obviously, as the name indicates, would supply the atrium of the heart. Then it passes in the groove between the right auricle and the ascending aorta. The second branch would be the SA nodal branch. Then we have the right marginal branch, and the final branch would be the all these arteries with the right coronary artery. We can say that it supplies different structures of the heart, that is the right atrium and the right ventricle, SA node and the AV nodes, the interatrial septum, a portion of the left atrium, posterior-inferior 1/3 of the interventricular septum, a portion of the posterior part of the left ventricle. Coming to the left coronary artery. The left coronary artery originates from the left aortic sinus of the ascending aorta. It passes between the pulmonary trunk and the left auricle before entering the coronary sulcus. Then, while still posterior to the pulmonary trunk, the artery divides into its two terminal branches, that is the anterior interventricular and the circumflex branch. Now you can see the two main branches of the left coronary artery, that is the circumflex branch, and the anterior interventricular branch of the left coronary. This is the anterior interventricular branch of the left coronary artery. Then first of all, we'll discuss the anterior interventricular artery. This is the anterior interventricular artery, also called as the left anterior descending artery or the LAD. It continues around the left side of the pulmonary trunk and it descends obliquely towards the apex of the heart in the anterior interventricular sulcus. As the name indicates, it is the anterior interventricular artery, so it descends in the or it moves in the anterior interventricular sulcus. During its course, one or two diagonal branches. Now you can see in the picture, this is the diagonal branch of the anterior interventricular artery may arise across the anterior surface of the left ventricle. So the left coronary artery, which have been originated from the left aortic sinus, and obviously it passes between the pulmonary trunk and the left auricle. In the right coronary artery, you have noticed that it originates from the right coronary artery originates from the right aortic sinus of the ascending aorta, whereas the left coronary artery, it originates from the left aortic sinus of the ascending aorta. Then the right coronary artery passes anteriorly between the pulmonary trunk and the right auricle, whereas the left coronary artery passes anteriorly between the pulmonary trunk and the left auricle before entering into the pulmonary sulcus. Then, in contrast to the right coronary artery, which has four main branches, that is the atrial branch, the SA branch, the marginal artery, and the posterior interventricular artery. The left coronary artery has only two main branches, that is the circumflex branch. This is the circumflex branch, and this is the anterior interventricular branch of the left coronary artery. So these are the two main branches of the left coronary artery, in contrast with the right coronary artery, which has four branches. Then, when we have discussed the anterior interventricular artery, which is also called as the left anterior descending artery, because it lies on the anterior surface and it descends vertically. So, and it is obviously on the left side of the heart, so it is called as the left anterior descending artery or the LAD. It continues around the left side of the pulmonary trunk, descends obliquely towards the apex of the heart in the anterior interventricular sulcus, and during its course it gives branches which is called as the diagonal branch and across the anterior surface of the left ventricle. Now coming to the next branch of the left coronary artery, which is the circumflex branch. This is the circumflex artery. You can see that this is the circumflex artery, the anterior interventricular artery, the circumflex artery. It courses towards the left in the coronary sulcus and on the base and the diaphragmatic surface of the heart, usually ends before reaching the posterior interventricular sulcus. Now, a large branch, the left marginal artery, usually arises from the circumflex artery and continues across the rounded obtuse margin of the heart. The obtuse margin of the heart is basically the left border or the left margin of the heart. It is also called as the left border, or the left margin of the heart is also called as the obtuse margin of the heart. It is basically shorter than the right border, and it is rounded, it is full and rounded. So the circumflex artery gives a major branch which is called as the left marginal artery, which continues around the rounded obtuse margin of the heart. Now you can see in the picture, this is the left marginal artery or the left obtuse marginal artery, which is actually the branch of the circumflex artery. The distribution pattern of the left coronary artery enables it to supply most of the left atrium and left ventricle and most of the interventricular septum, including the AV bundle and its branches. Now, there are variations in the distribution patterns of the coronary artery. Now, what are those variations? Several major variations in the basic distribution patterns of the coronary arteries occur. The distribution pattern described above for both right and the left coronary artery is the most common and consists of a right dominant coronary artery. So there are two patterns, that is the right dominance and the left dominance, and in short it is actually the posterior interventricular artery which is associated with the dominance of the coronary artery. If this posterior interventricular artery has been originated from the right coronary artery, as we have discussed before, so it is the right dominance. Why? Because the right, the posterior interventricular artery is a branch of right coronary artery, so the right coronary artery will supply a large portion of the posterior wall of the left ventricle, and the circumflex branch of the left coronary artery is relatively small, so it would be the right dominance of the coronary artery. But there are several cases where the posterior interventricular artery originates from the circumflex branch. In hearts with the left dominant coronary artery, the posterior interventricular branch arises from an enlarged circumflex branch and supplies most of the posterior wall of the left ventricle. In that case, we say that it is the left dominant coronary artery. So this is a slight variation. Actually, it is the posterior interventricular artery which mostly arises from the right coronary artery. So it is called as the right dominance because it supplies a greater part of the left side as compared to the circumflex branch. But in case if the posterior interventricular artery arises from the circumflex branch, then it would be the left dominant coronary artery. Then there is another point of variation which relates to the arterial supply to the SA and the AV nodes. In most cases, these structures are supplied by the right coronary artery. However, vessels from the circumflex branch of the left coronary artery occasionally supply these structures. Now, coming to the coronary artery disease, we have discussed the two coronary arteries, that is the right and the left coronary arteries. From where does they originate? How does they travel? And what are their branches? Then we have discussed the right and the left dominance, that actually it is the posterior interventricular artery which is associated with the dominance of the coronary artery. If it arises from the right coronary artery, it is called as the right dominance of coronary artery, and if it originates from the left side, it is called as the left dominance of the coronary artery. Now coming to the coronary artery disease, the most common, that is the myocardial infarction. Occlusion of a major coronary artery leads to an inadequate oxygenation of an area of myocardium and cell death, that is the myocardial infarction. The severity depends on the size and location of the artery involved and whether or not the blockage is complete. Partial blockage may produce pain, that is angina, during or after exercise. Typically, cardiac pain is a deep central sternal pain radiating into the left arm and the lower neck. The severity of ischemia infarction depends on the rate at which the occlusion or stenosis has occurred and whether or not collateral channels have had a chance to develop. Several procedures are now developed to improve blood flow in partially or completely occluded coronary arteries. The first procedure is the coronary angioplasty. It is a technique in which a long fine tube, a catheter, is inserted into the femoral artery in the thigh, passed through external and common iliac arteries and into the aorta to the origins of the coronary arteries. A fine wire is then passed into the coronary artery and is used to cross the stenosis. A fine balloon is then passed over the wire and inflated at the level of obstruction, thus widening it. If the coronary artery disease is too severe to be treated by coronary angioplasty, surgical coronary artery bypass grafting may be necessary. The great saphenous vein in the lower limb is harvested and used as an autologous graft. It is divided into several pieces, each of which is used to bypass blocked sections of the coronary arteries. The internal thoracic or radial arteries can also be used for this purpose. So after the arterial supply, we move towards the cardiac veins. When we talk about the cardiac veins, we say that the coronary sinus receive four major tributaries. That is the great cardiac vein. You can see in the picture, this is the great cardiac vein, the middle cardiac vein, the small great cardiac vein, the middle cardiac vein, the small cardiac vein, and the posterior cardiac veins. Now, starting with the great cardiac vein, begins at the apex of the heart. It ascends in the anterior interventricular sulcus, where it is related to the anterior interventricular artery, and it is often termed the anterior interventricular vein. So the great cardiac vein, now you can see it is much clearer in this picture, that is the great cardiac vein, which have been originated in the you can say at the apex of the heart. It ascends in the anterior interventricular sulcus, where it is related to the anterior interventricular artery. You can see it is related with the anterior interventricular artery, and it is also termed as the anterior interventricular vein. Reaching the coronary sulcus, the great cardiac vein turns to the left and continues on the base or the diaphragmatic surface of the heart. At this point, it is associated with the circumflex branch of the left coronary artery. Continuing along its path in the coronary sulcus, the great cardiac vein gradually enlarges to form the coronary sinus, which enters the right atrium. Coming to the middle cardiac vein. This is the middle cardiac vein, which is also called as the posterior interventricular vein. It begins near the apex of the heart and ascends in the posterior interventricular sulcus. You can see it begins near the apex of the heart and it ascends in the posterior interventricular sulcus towards the coronary sinus. Then it is associated with the posterior interventricular branch of the right or left coronary artery throughout its course. Now you have a real idea that why we are saying that the posterior interventricular branch of right or left, because either it would be right or it would be left depending on the dominance of the coronary artery. So the middle cardiac vein, which is also called as the posterior interventricular vein, it begins near the apex of the heart. It ascends in the interventricular sulcus towards the coronary sinus. It is associated with the posterior interventricular branch of the right or left coronary artery throughout its course. Then we have small cardiac vein. You can see this is the small cardiac vein. It begins in the lower anterior section of the coronary sulcus between the right atrium and the right ventricle. You can see that this vein begins in the right, between the right atrium and the right ventricle. It continues in the groove onto the base or the diaphragmatic surface of the heart, where it enters the coronary sinus at the atrial end. It is a companion of right coronary artery throughout its course and may receive the right marginal vein. If the right marginal vein does not join the small cardiac vein, it enters the right atrium directly. So the small cardiac vein, which basically originates between the right atrium and the right ventricle, and obviously you can see that the right coronary artery accompanies it. It continues in this groove onto the base or the diaphragmatic surface of the heart, and then it enters the coronary sinus at its atrial end. Then we have the posterior cardiac vein, or this is the posterior cardiac vein, or it is also called as the posterior vein of the left ventricle. It lies on the posterior surface of the left ventricle, just to the left of the middle cardiac vein. You can see this is the middle cardiac vein, and it lies, and the posterior cardiac vein lies to the left of the middle cardiac vein. It enters the coronary sinus directly or joins the great cardiac vein. The anterior cardiac vein, these are the small veins on the anterior surface of the right ventricle. They cross the coronary sulcus and enter the anterior wall of the right atrium. They drain the anterior portion of the right ventricle. So this is all about the coronary arteries and the blood supply of the heart. Thank you.